Welcome to the Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And today I have the lovely Tasha Hampton. Welcome. And thank you
Thank
very much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. It's my pleasure. I really, truly mean that. Um, you know, we were just talking about lifing.
Mhm,
And I think that as women, when lifes, that's when
mhm.
we don't know who we are for some reason. That's the real test. And
Yeah.
when we are aligned with what we love or who we are and loving ourselves, then when life starts to life, we look at it in a completely different way. So thank you for coming to share your story with all of our listeners. And yeah, let's just talk a little bit about you, girl.
Oh,
Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
well, I have just recently, in September of this past year, relocated, packed up everything and relocated to Houston, Texas. So I am definitely in a new land, a new place. It's like I'm a foreigner in this new place. And I feel like on an adventure at this part of my life because I'm an empty nester. All my children are grown, living their life. So why not?
Amazing.
Mhm, mhm.
That's just a
And I
beautiful.
that step.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that transition for you from having a house full. How many children?
I have 3 adult children. Mhm. 2 boys and a girl.
So tell me how that transition. I know being an empty nester is sometimes a beautiful thing, and then sometimes it's a really hard thing for some people. So how did you get through that point, and how did it bring you to where you are now?
One day, I'm a cosmetologist by nature, by life, by trade. So, you're constantly having conversations with women every day about family, about life. And one day I was talking to someone, and out of the blue, I realized that all my children were adults. I'm no longer that mom that was on demand 24/7. I was no longer that woman that I needed because I am divorced. So I went from being married to, now divorced and for the most part, a single mom, you know. And I had to
Yeah.
realize that, wait, I'm no longer that. So it kind of like took me for a shock that even though my children are adults, I still was walking in that mindset. I still was carrying myself and conducting myself that way. And I had to it was like lights came on like, sweetie, you're no longer that. You're in a different place in your life right now. And I did not pay attention to that. It blew me away. Like I was in shock
Yes.
and that meant that my children are adults and they don't need me. They're still going to need me, but in a different way, but they don't need mom like that. And
Yeah.
so it's like,
And it is
what do I
scary.
it is, because you're so used to taking care of people. So it's like, well, who do I now? Who? Me.
That's right.
Because I me.
That's right.
So when I started to realize that, I started going through a transition. Well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Um, who am I going to spend time with? Who am I going to cook for? Because you're used to cooking for this family. Now it's just you. So even food shopping's different. You don't have to buy as much. So everything really began to change in my
Yes.
life. But It started with that light coming on one day, like, you're not that anymore. It's time for you to shift gears. Like, take that off. Take that part of your identity off.
You know, when I hear you say this, I so relate because my kids are all grown and gone as well, and I'm a grandmother now, so it's a different response, like a different hat, I guess. But
Yes.
You know, what I realized is I wish that it hadn't have taken me as long to realize that who I got to be in the process of this life that I've been living was just as important as who I was like what I was doing and who I was being for all of the people in my life. I was being a mom, I was being a wife, I was being a daughter, I was being a friend, but who was I for me? And, we all have that moment in our lives that it's the shift. It's when that shift happens. So when you're kids, you finally had that shift. How did you start discovering who Tasha was?
I had to actually, and I believe all women should do this from time to time, look in the mirror, like an actual mirror, and look at yourself. The whatever space you're in, whatever age you are, because as women, as we age, we go through different phases in our life. And I came across an article of a actress, actually Janet Jackson, and I believe at the time she was 42. And she was stating how she is now comfortable in her own skin. She's not trying to be anything other than who she is. And that made me, because, especially being in the beauty industry, we're constantly changing our look. We're putting on makeup. Like I'm going through a no makeup phase right now because I
Yeah.
want to see, I'm not hiding behind any of that. So I was actually be able to peel off the layers that was put on me over the years, peel back those layers. And now I had to, do I like what I see when I look in a mirror? Do I like that woman? Like I had to start being real. I had to start being truthful and honest because a lot of times women don't like what they see when they look in a mirror.
No,
And I like
that
what
is
I
powerful.
saw. Yes. I had to not only like what I saw, what I was looking at, but I had to start loving her. And who was her? The woman that I'm looking at in the mirror.
Yes. I often say to women when I'm speaking with them, whether it's in coaching or on the podcast, I say, like, we are there. We are the only ones who are there with us when we take our first breath, and we're there with us when we take our last breath. So
Mhm.
if we can remember how special, how important, how blessed we are to have, we're never alone. We're
No.
never alone when we have ourselves, when we actually learn who we are for ourselves.
Yes. Yes. And that's what we don't know because we
Yeah.
lose ourselves, like I said, in the midst of
Oh,
mothers, we become wise. If we get that new position on our job, we
yeah.
become that. And I started to learn who I was. I started to like who I was, and I started to not really care about other people's opinion of me.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
started to feel powerful. It started to feel invigorating. And I began to carry myself that way. And so I began to take time with me. I would go to the movies by myself. I would get dressed up cute and go out to eat by myself, and it began to really feel good because what? Now I have no one to spend time with.
Mhm.
So I had to learn how to be okay with just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't afraid
And I,
at
I
that moment.
I really feel it when you're talking that you're more than okay with you.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
love you. You are
Yes,
unstoppable. You found that power that was buried beneath all the layers of who we had to be, and that power's
yes,
there. We never lose it. But when it's
no,
buried so deep down inside, we think we have to be strong. We think we have to be all of these things. But being unstoppable isn't about strength.
mm-mm,
It's in the knowing and in the loving yourself and the practice that it takes to be who you choose to be, that's when you can become
Mm,
unstoppable.
yes.
And
Like,
I,
how
you know,
powerful bounce. Mhm,
absolutely so
mhm,
powerful. We
mhm,
talked about strength a little bit ago, you and I, before we jumped on the call for the podcast. Talk about what you said was so enlightening. And I think that women will relate to this like no other about strength, like why we
mhm,
feel like we have to be a strong one for everyone else.
mhm. Yes, I'm not that strong. As you and I were sharing, before, my mother passed away. Well, first, my sister had passed away right before everyone found out my mother had breast cancer. So I'm the oldest, and my mother shared it with me first. So she wanted to wait until she got all the family together to let everyone know that she had breast cancer and she needed to get a mastectomy. But before she could do that, my sister, 4 years under me, suddenly passed away. My mother found her. She died in her sleep.
Mm.
So to watch my mother go through that, finding her baby girl, 42 years old, dead, and the fact that she is going through breast cancer and have to get a mastectomy, like she doesn't know what the future holds for herself. To watch that was something. So, um, I watched, my mother go through that. So we buried my sister. 2 weeks later, my mother has to get her surgery. Mind you, this time I'm living in New Jersey. My mother lives in Pennsylvania. So I decided to move with my mother to help her through all of this.
Yes.
So fast. Yeah. And this was in 2017. So 3 years later, my mother, she passes away. So I'm watching everyone go through this because even when my sister passed away, everyone in the family is breaking down because one, this was not, something that we was expecting. It was suddenly.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that I at the time God had me. So what I'm in myself, I'm looking through my body, my eyes, and I see everyone going through, but I didn't feel the effects of it. And that's only because at that time God gave me the strength that I needed because he knew I was going to have to be there for my mother. But fast forward 3 years later, my mother passes away, and so I'm watching everyone go through, even my mother's husband, where to the point I had to be the one to plan the funeral, thank God for some of the friends that assisted. But after everything was over, my godmother comes to me and she says, "Well, Tasha," she said, "now you're gonna have to take care of, this one, that one, look out for this one, that," and she's naming, my brother and other people. And I paused for a moment and I looked at her and I said, "No." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm not going to let you put that on me." I said, "For this time," I said, "it's every man for himself. I will not allow you to put that on me."
Okay, so Tasha, your mother passes away 3 years later, and you still have to be the strong one now. So tell me what
Mhm.
shifted at that point for you when you were going through all of that.
After actually the evening of, burying my mother, we're all sitting in the living room. My godmother comes to me and she says, "Well, Tasha," she said, "now you're going to have to, take care of everyone. You're going to have to look out for this one, that one." She started naming, family members, my brother and other people. And I paused for a moment and I looked at her and I said, "No, no, I'm not." I said, "I'm not going to let you put that on me." I said, "For this time around," I said, "it's every man for himself." I said, "I'm not going to let you put that on me." And it took me back to one of my mother's dearest friends. When my sister passed away, we were in the kitchen and she came over to me and she said, "Your mom says that you're her strong child." And I'm like, and I never knew that. My mother never said anything like that to me, but I know my mother had to have said it to this lady for her to say that to me. And that really shocked me because I didn't know my mother looked at me that way. So, but and I think they were looking at how I handled the situation of my sister's passing. but it was not me. That was not my strength. That was God's strength. And at that moment, I realized sometimes you never know what you're made of until you have to go through some things, until you
Yeah.
have to endure. But I,
Yeah.
I refuse to be everyone's strength, everyone's shoulder to lean on and to cry on when my mother passed away. Because now I'm at a place I needed to process that because I didn't even process my sister's passing. So to
No,
allow
you
that,
didn't.
not at all. I didn't process my sister's passing until maybe 5 years after she passed away. It hit me. Oh my God, my sister's not here. So it shows you
Wow.
how grief, it comes whenever it wants to come. So I
Yeah.
refused at that time. After my mother passed, I went sabbatical on everyone and I turned my phone off and I just had me, myself, and I time because I had to like really sit and think like, wow, so this is real.
Yeah.
This really happened. So it's like now what do you do? I didn't answer the telephone. I didn't speak to anybody because I needed to regroup for me. And when
Mhm.
I say I'm not gonna put that on me, I didn't allow anyone to put their grief on me. I didn't allow anyone to come running to me. I refused to carry anyone during that time. Up until this day, I'm still not carrying anybody.
That is um boundaries are such important things to have in our lives because without boundaries, you are allowing everyone else to say what's best for you. You are allowing yourself to be what's best for everyone else. But when you implemented those boundaries for yourself and said, I am not your strength, I need to be strong for me now. Now I need to go
Mhm.
through my grief, my loss of my sister, the loss of my mother, the planning, the doing, and the being for everyone else. Now it's time for Tasha to be Tasha and be for me.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Yes.
not easy now, and I mean it doesn't. You're not making it sound easy, and I know it's not easy, but
Mhm.
that strength comes from deep within. And that's where that power was underneath those layers of things that we were talking about, because you've allowed it to come from what you needed, not for
Mhm.
anyone else.
Yes, because it actually, believe it or not, it even shocked me that I'm saying this to my godmother and it came out, but I when it came out, I kept talking, like, I didn't hesitate because that really opened up my eyes to realize, like, wow, because I mean, it's like almost like, are you making me the matriarch? Are you appointing me the matriarch of the family where now you're telling me I have to carry the family? That wasn't the time to come to me at that moment while I'm grieving my mother to say that. It's not like, I have to take care of like someone else in the family is sick and I have to now become their caregiver. These people are, fit well, go to work, they have a life. So
Yeah,
why do I have to look for them? Who's looking out for Tasha?
that's
Nobody.
right. Mhm.
Who's looking out for So I had to look out for myself. I had to set that boundary and I had to say, no, it stops here. Because when you carry burdens that's not your burden, it does too much to you. It weighs you down. It takes your joy, it takes your peace because now not only are you carrying their burden, you become the person who fixes everything for them. When are they going to
Yes.
learn to fix their
Ugh,
when are they going to learn how to stand on their own? So that's the position that I'm putting them in. No, you're going to have to stand on your own now because now guess what?
mhm.
I got my own. I have to own this moment that I'm in. And I
Yeah,
gotta try to figure it out. I never lost a mother before. So you know what I mean? So it's
exactly.
like,
How
okay.
do you know what to do, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the definition, Tasha, of unstoppable right there. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew
Yes.
I had to do it.
Yes.
We don't have to have it all figured out. We
Right.
don't. We don't have to know all the whys and the hows and all of the, we just have to know. when it aligns with what we need and what we feel whole with, then everything will fall into place after that because you're doing this for the right reasons for yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Girl, you know, it's so okay. So that was so how many years have passed since that? So fast forward now. Now you're in a new country, like a new city, a new place, a new everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what brought you
Yeah.
here? Like, what brought you to Houston to be, a fresh start? Like you said, like you're a foreigner here in this place because you've never been here, and you're not alone. You're with yourself. But what did that mean for you when you chose that?
It felt like I was about to go on an adventure. I didn't know what was going to be ahead. You know how, like you were talking about planning, we're always planning stuff, but sometimes you just can't. You just got to go with the flow.
Yeah,
That's what people do. Like when they want to, you know what? I think I'm going to just take a cross country drive. You know what? I think I'm going to pack up my bags and I'm going to go on an adventure. That's what it was like for me. And I didn't think too much into it. I did prep myself. I would come down once a month because it was important for me, one, to find a church home. So I found that. So I would come down once a month to visit. But still, after that, coming down, Texas is so big and there's so much to explore. And I'm seeing that more and more, so many places to go, restaurants to go to, different foods to try. It's almost like the biggest melting pots I've ever been a part of. I thought New York City was something, but it's a big melting pot down here. And the meeting all the different people and the Southern hospitality is just absolutely amazing. So now I'm in a position where I want to explore Texas. I want everything that it has to offer me. And so now in my mind, I have this checklist of the different things that I want to do while I'm here, while I'm on this next phase of my life, reinventing because I'm actually reinventing myself. I'm reinventing
oh,
my
for
look,
sure.
and I found myself like,
Oh, I
wow,
love.
so yes, how do I wanna wear my hair? Do I want short hair? Do I want long hair? Do I wanna wear braids? Do I wanna be blonde? Do I wanna be this? Because I used to be short and platinum. So I'm now reinventing myself, going through I said to myself before I moved down here, I feel like I'm going through a metamorphosis. So now looking at that, what phase am I in? So that's something that I'm periodically I'm going to check the phases of a when metamorphosis is going on. Where am I at in that? Because that's what I feel like right now. I haven't come up to the full bloom and blossom of it. So I'm in the middle somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. I know I'm not where I
I
started
love.
off, but I know I still
No.
have ways to get to the end. So middle,
Mm.
that's where the redefining, the reshaping, the recalibrating, the remaking, the reinventing is happening. So that's where I'm at now.
My face is hurting because as you're talking, I'm smiling and I'm like wanting to go, yes, yes, yes. Like I love it. It's so powerful. The way you're speaking, the way you're feeling, and this journey. So
Mhm.
many of us think about life as a destination. We have to get there. We have to get to a certain level at our work. We have to do. No, it's the journey. This is the most magical part.
Yeah. And enjoy the journey
Oh,
because on the journey,
yes.
yourself. You're learning yourself, things about you are changing. It's
Mm,
almost like, well, went through a shedding. So you're
yeah.
shedding off the old. Remember
Mhm.
ye not things, neither consider the things of old. I'm doing a new thing, and now it shall spring forth. And that's what's happening. So the old Tasha, she's coming off. She's shedding those old
Yes.
ways, old habits,
Yeah.
old it's you know what? I made a decision in my life every day Imma find a reason to laugh. How many of us laugh every day? I'm going to laugh every day.
Yeah. Good for you.
Gonna
Good for
Hey,
you. And you know what?
I'm
You're
a
making me smile. I don't think I've not smiled in our whole podcast. I think that my face is going to stay like this now because it's just, I just honestly, I feel you, your energy, your emotion, it's like I don't even know, like you have rebirthed something. You are this flower coming out of the ground that is, you're rooted in who you choose to be. That is
yes,
beautiful. And now you're allowing the
yes,
colors of your flower to be everyone that you choose it to be. Girl, this is
ye
beautiful. I love this for you.
yes, yes, yes. And we need to allow our to go through this because you know what I've learned? A lot of times we go through different phases of life and we feel strange. We feel like we're a foreigner in a foreign land because we don't know what's
Mhm.
happening. You know, when you're reaching 25, you're going to go through a change. You're reaching 30, 35, you're going to go through a change. When we hit those 40s, it's on and popping. But when you hit those 50s, oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Can you catch
right?
can you catch
Exactly.
us?
Yes.
Because now you know long to lace up your boots and put on your backpack. It's time to rise. It's time to rise. I'm lacing up, I'm putting on my
Yeah.
backpack and I'm riding. Because guess
Good
what?
for
I real I don't need anyone's permission.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Mm-mm.
And I hope when you people are listening to this podcast and if you're just listening, you can't see the smile that I've had on my face, but believe you me, it's been there the entire time because I've listened to your heartbreak, your
Mm,
your shift from losing your sister and losing your mother within a short period of time. And within that time, like the night of, no, I'm not doing that for everyone else. That came from your toes. That was something that you had inside you. So those roots that
mhm.
you have for yourself are planted. So it doesn't matter if you're in Houston, if you're in wherever you go, you are someone that people will be blessed to know.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
know that. And
'Cause
I say this, and I've been saying this to my team that I work with all the time. Like, we are going to get these women together. All of us are going to get together because I want to bring us to a place where we can
mhm,
all feel the energy. Like, I can feel it through the screen, but I want that vibe for all of us to be able to be together, in the future so that we can really share and empower even more women. Your story is so
yeah,
empowering. You are
yes,
such
thank
a strong woman for you, and then you
yes.
exude that strength for others.
Mhm. Thank you. I know what it's like
And I
to lose myself. Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Well, wife at one point, you know, you lose yourself. 'Cause what now? Everything is about your children, it's about your house, it's about your husband, but that too was something, a rug snatched from under my feet where you one day looking for your husband to come home and he's a no-show. So going through that abandonment
Mhm,
feeling,
mhm.
that was where I wrote a poem on who am I because I didn't know who I was because I put everything into that, everything into him and the
Yeah.
children. So left, he took me with him and then I had to get me back.
Well, you got you back.
Mhm.
Like, you
Mm,
did. And that
mhm.
is what we are doing here. We are allowing women to listen to this podcast and know that you are there, you are in there. and you get to get
Mhm.
yourself back from whatever you're going through. There's resources, there's people. You talk to us, you reach out, because we can help. And if it's not one of us, then we'll hook you up with somebody. But it's
Yeah.
there for you. And, together we are stronger. And I truly believe that this world can change one woman at a time.
Yes, it
I
can.
really,
I think when
so,
women realize, how going through something, kinda either isolate yourself or you feel isolated,
yeah.
until they share their story, realize they're not alone.
Mm, yes.
They're not a There's so
No.
many women that can relate to what went through, and the emotions that are attached to that, you know?
Yes. Well, if this episode isn't, I don't know what episode would be, but this is The Art of Being Unstoppable. And I thank you for being here today, Tasha. Even when life
You're
was lifing,
welcome.
right? For
Mhm.
you, even when life was lifing, you're still here with as bright as a flower that you could ever imagine. And I am blessed to know you. And so are all of our listeners blessed to hear your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Until next time, everyone, thank you for watching. If you heard something in this episode, please share it with somebody. Everyone needs to hear that that being unstoppable isn't impossible. Everything is possible.
Mhm.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode, because your journey to unstoppable starts now.